this topic has been on my mind the last, I'd say, week. This message has been wanting to come through, and I just haven't had the time. I've been busy doing some other things in my business, and I was like, okay, I'll go live later. I'll go live later. And then, of course, the days pass. So let me know when you're hopping on here live. Let me know on the replay. How are you? But we're going to talk about permission today. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Katiwe. I'm an abundance priestess, and I love helping powerful people, powerful healers, leaders, light workers really begin to own their own personal power so they can share their gifts with the world and make an impact, right? Do your soul work and also receive abundantly for it, because you get to. So that's what I do. And, I do these live streams to help you get in the energy as well. And we're going to talk about permission, because a lot of the time, like when people come into my world and they're like, I want to go bigger, right? I want to do my soul work. Maybe you're a Reiki master, maybe you're an energy worker, maybe you have your own gifts, maybe you're a DNA activator, you're a coach, you're a, trauma-informed therapist, right? But you are here to help people, right, in a big way, and really change lives and impact many people. But it's like, there's this energy of like waiting, right? There's this energy of like waiting for permission a lot of the time, right? It's like somebody has to come to you, or a lot of the time it comes in the form of like clients, right? Waiting for permission from clients, right? It's like when I sign a client, then it's like, oh, then I'm good enough. I have permission that I get to do this, right? And understand that you go first. In everything that you do, you go first, especially in your soul work, right? And the thing about permission is you've already been given it, right? Like the fact that you have these amazing spiritual gifts, the fact that you are basically a superhuman, right? Like you have gifts that most people walking this planet don't even believe in, right? Or like, that's not true. Like that's too fantastical. That's too out there. Like that, you do what now, right? You do what? Right. And it's like, we are these like superhumans. We have these abilities that are so amazing, and we're given these for a reason. We're blessed with these gifts for a reason, right? Because we're here to help many people. We're not just here to like have gifts and then do nothing with them, right? Have gifts and then work at Starbucks or an office job that we don't actually want to be at. That makes no sense, right? So it's like, you already have the permission built into the fact that you have the gifts, right? But it takes you as a human in this body, right, in this physical world, to actually step into that and own it. You've got to own it first. You've got to go, you know what, even if I don't have any clients right now, even if I don't know what I'm doing right now, I don't know how to really maybe figure this out, or like, how am I going to, reach out to people? How are people going to find me to do this work together? Like, how am I going to make any money at this? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to make sales happen. I don't know how to market, right? Like if this is you and you're like, I don't know anything, right? All I know is I have, maybe bits and pieces, but it hasn't come together yet fully for you, or the momentum hasn't built to an extent where you're consistently receiving, right, for your gifts. It's like, you've got to know that the fact that you have this gift, and the fact that you know deep down that you have this soul desire to share it, is enough, right? That has to be enough to start. It has to be enough to start. And it is enough to start. Right? That's all you need to begin. And I get that it's so easy to like look at the world and go, well, that person's, oh my God, that person's incredible. They've been doing this for 20, 30 years. They're making all this money. They've got thousands of people that, come to them. They're selling out retreats. They're selling out programs. Like what, who am I? Like, who am I to start this? Who am I to like jump into this realm when there are already all these powerful people, right? There's like the Esther Hicks, there's the Marianne Williamsons, there's the, whatever, these big deal people, right? There's the Lisa, oh my gosh, I can't remember her last name now. I'm sorry. But I'm talking about Lisa, right? There's so many people who are so powerful and magical, and like, oh my God, I'm not one of them. I'm not like them. And it's like, yes, you are. Of course you are, right? Of course you are. If you feel the pull at your soul, of course you are. You're meant to do it. You're meant to show up. You're meant to create your courses. You're meant to share and do one-to-ones and do in-person things or hold retreats, or all the ways that soul is like, go out and do these things. It's meant for you. But you, at a human level, have to actually also acknowledge that and step into that, right? And it's like, I had one of those moments, a few years ago before I decided to like go into this full time and start actually serving people and receiving money in exchange and doing this as my full-time thing. I had to have this conversation with myself. I remember it very clearly. It was like a sit down journaling session with myself. And because I knew that I wanted to do this, right? I knew that I wanted to help in some way. I didn't know what it would look like. I didn't know 3 years later this is what it would look like. But I knew that I wanted to help people connect to their spirituality, manifest, et cetera, et cetera. That's all I knew. And I was like, well, what am I waiting for, right? Like, what am I waiting for? Because this has been in the back of my mind for a long time. And I was just kind of waiting, right? For what? I had to figure out. And when I finally sat down with myself, I realized I was waiting for permission. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. So permission from who or what? Right? And it was permission from like some sort of authority figure. It's like, we're all trained to listen to authority figures and look for approval and look for, like the go ahead, like you're good enough or yes, now's the time, right? We're trained that way as people overall in society. And so it was like, I kind of had that idea built into this purpose work, right? Not realizing it. It was a subconscious thing going on. And when I looked at it, it was like, well, that's silly, right? I had never actually taken the time to dissect it. And when I looked at it, I was like, that's silly. Who's gonna come into my life and tell me I can do it? Right? There's literally nobody. It's down to me. And when I realized that it was down to me, I felt a little fear, of course, but also like this freedom and like this relief of like, oh, it's actually my choice. It's actually up to me. It's actually in my hands. I do have some level of control over this. Wow, that's what a concept, right? And it just hadn't thought of it that way. It felt like something had to happen outside of myself, right? And I think that a lot of you maybe are in that kind of mind trap of waiting for something to validate you before you fully go for it, right? Like, let me know in the comments if that's you, if that's ever been you. I'd love to hear from you, right? I love receiving comments. And if you are commenting and I can't see it, I just can't see it on my phone and I'll see it on the replay. So I apologize if you already are commenting, I just can't see them. But it comes down to permission. So ask yourself, am I fully giving myself permission to step into my gifts and to showcase them and work with people full time? Am I fully giving myself permission? Like what level, right? 0 would be not at all. 10 would be 100%. I'm giving myself full permission to go for it and do this, right? And if you're not giving yourself full permission, if you're not like at a 9 or a 10 permission, why? Right? It's never going to come from really anybody else. And even if it does, if you're not like giving yourself permission, it's like you can't even hear that, right? You can't even hear that guidance or support in most cases. It just kind of falls on deaf ears because you yourself are not locked in to your own magic and the fact that you get to decide that you are a powerful healer, that you are somebody who provides massive transformation and massive value to people on this planet. And you get to then go out into the world, even though I know it sounds scary, but you get to go out into this big, beautiful world and serve and put yourself out there and help people, right? And grow and grow and grow over time. Your influence and your impact will go over time, right? And so will your bank account because yes, you get to have money too. So I'd love to know what level of permission you're giving yourself. I'm tripping over my words there. What level of permission you're giving yourself to fully be out there, to fully shine, to fully let the world know this is who I am, right? And I deserve to be here and what I have to say matters and the work that I do matters. And I know that I can help people and so I belong. I belong because I say I belong, because I say I do, because I was created by the same force that creates all things, right? So you belong here, you have a place. And I just want to remind you of that power and remind you that it really is in your hands. And if you're not fully going for it, there's just some stuff to work through, right? There might be a belief, there might be some sort of energy, some fear, but there's nothing that you can't shift. There's nothing that you can't handle. There's nothing that you can't work around, I promise you, right? Even if it's like really deep or a trauma or like something very real, right? Not everything is trivial and just like, fears that your mind has made up. Some things are very real, right? And you've experienced some things that are scary or, you've been, belittled or made fun of or put down for who you are and your magic in some way. That's a very real thing, right? I'm not diminishing the reality of that. But what I'm saying is you have the power to shift and move through anything. There's nothing that can stop you unless you simply just don't do the work, right? Unless you just don't choose to show up and choose to shift it and choose to move out of it, right? And so that was just the message. Give yourself full permission. And if you want to really know how to really do this full time, like this, I've created a program. So I've created a program called the Prosperous Healer, okay? And this is for you if you're like, I'm ready to make some real money in my healing business, spiritual business, right? I'm ready to actually serve clients consistently. I'm ready to serve many people. I'm ready to be visible and to be somebody who is seen as an authority in my field, a go-to person, somebody who is like, you know, people recommend, they're like, go to so-and-so, right? You really want to build up your practice, your business. You really want to be making an impact, right? Like, you know, at a soul level, this is more about than making money, though of course money is a part of it, but it's like you really want to do the soul work. You're feeling the pull, you're feeling the call to expand, right? To host retreats, to do one-to-one, to do group things, to have a YouTube channel, to write books, right? To speak on stages, like whatever spirit is showing you is next, whatever you feel called to, like that is what's meant for you, right? It's just that we have to get our minds on board, get our bodies on board, because soul's already on board, right? It's just the human that has to come along for the journey. So if you're ready to get the human on board with you having consistent $3,000 to $5,000 months in your healing business, in your spiritual business, or even if you're a coach, then this is for you, right? This is for you. We're doing a lot of inner work, so the mindset, the emotions, the energy, getting yourself on board. We're going to shift any fears that you have around stepping into your gifts in public, right? Around sharing that. We're going to make sure that you feel really good and feel really safe with, you know, marketing your offers, with putting it out there, knowing how to actually do that. So people like pay attention and buy, right? And not just get lost in, you know, all that stuff, all the noise of the online world, but in a way that feels good to you, right? This is all in alignment with who you are. We're not making, you know, cookie cutter healers here. We're just going to take these principles and work them into your soul mission and who you are. And so it's going to be a lot of inner stuff, but also strategy and also marketing and how-tos to really get things going so that you can, you know, call in your people to you and really do this consistently and make a full-time income, because it really is time for people like us to step up, right? Like, the world is hurting. The world needs us more than ever right now. And it actually is selfish and a travesty for us to keep our gifts to ourselves and to not let people know what you have to offer and how you can serve them. Like, that actually is a selfish act, right? You're doing it out of self-preservation if that's you, and I understand it deeply because I've been there, but it's selfish, right? It's time to let people know how you can help them. And then help them, right? Because when we help one person, like, they inherently help their family, they help their community, they help the world at large. It is a huge ripple effect, the stuff that we do, right? And so if that is you, if you're like, I really want to go for it, it's time for me to step up, it's time for me to make some real money so I can do this full time because I know that I'm meant to and I get to, and this is how I want to spend my life and I want to help so many people. If that's you, then you want to join the Prosperous Healer. So we're starting September 15th. It is a group program. There's going to be a ton of videos over the 8 weeks, about 2 to 3 videos a week. And it's only going to be $222, so $222 because I want it to be super accessible for any healer who's like trying to make it into a spiritual business, you know, at the start, or maybe you already are in one, but you want to expand to 3 to 5K months, right? You want more consistency, you want more stability, you want more clients coming in, right? So it's perfect for you if you're at the beginning phase or you're already in it, but you want to actually stabilize in that and have more consistency. That's for you. Okay. And I had the link. I can put it up somewhere. It's in my bio already, but if you want it, you know, drop an emoji below or send me a DM if you have any questions. I'm happy to help. There's also a VIP option, by the way. So if you want to do, you know, the regular program, it's going to be super helpful. But if you want to also have like some one-to-one support, there's a VIP option. So you'll have like your own session with me where we dive deep into some things together, one-on-one, to really help make sure that you're, you know, operating at your most, you know, your highest and best. And so you can move through the program and really, you know, take the information and run with it. And then you're also going to get group coaching access. So during the 8 weeks, if you have questions come up about the trainings and you want personal response from me, if you want me to help you shift some things, you know, in the chat, then you can, right? So that option is $555 US. So you can pay it in full, or there are 2 payment option plans as well. So reach out to me if you're interested in any of those. I look forward to hearing from you, and just give yourself permission to really go for it, because right now is the time. So lots of love to you. I will talk to you soon.